All right, we're talking with Ryan for a BBA newsletter profile feature. And Ryan, why don't you just give us your name, including spelling first?
All right, Ryan Munn, that's Ryan, last name Munn.
And how would you like to be referred to, like company title? What would you like?
Hmm. Uh, I'm the founder of Interchain.live.
Okay, and that's interchain. Is it dot live or
Yep,
right?
yep,
In capital I interchain dot live, right?
yep.
Okay, great. So tell us a bit, describe Interchain Live for those who aren't familiar with it.
Well, it's really kind of a dormant media project right now. Started in 2017, have a number of interviews with blockchain company founders and emerging tech leaders there. What it is becoming in 2025 is more of a conduit for access to Vermont for blockchain and emerging technology interests, as well as access to those global interests for Vermont companies. Um, we are providing the rails for collaboration, both inside and outside of our community, for businesses to learn about and engage with contracting opportunities in blockchain or grant opportunities in blockchain. And on the media side, we are continuing to evolve the conversation and help bring the news and the knowledge to our audience, both the tech audience in Vermont as well as those interested in our way of doing business from around the world.
Got it. So you're acting as a connector for the Vermont blockchain ecosystem, kind of in the
Yep.
same way we're doing it for the Boston ecosystem. So that's exciting. And tell us a little bit about the blockchain scene in Vermont. I don't know much about it actually, so just give us
Yeah, well, it's definitely quieter. We have a lot less people here in general, so the scale of what's happening is a little bit smaller. But what makes it particularly unique is that early on, one of the more traditional industries that recognized the synergies with blockchain was the captive insurance industry. That's the term for the reinsurance markets. And it so happens that Vermont is the global leader in assets domiciled in captive entities.
Hmm.
And so we offer a unique place for these global companies to do business in a very risk mitigation, trust, uh, trust and trustless managing industry that's been doing that for 40 years.
Hmm.
And so, in my opinion, that is a prime sandbox for blockchain and other emerging technology innovation. And so that's been a key part of understanding that local narrative here in
Yeah.
Vermont for
Yeah,
blockchain.
I know the captive insurance market well. We have a client that does that. So can you dig into that any deeper? Like what are people doing specifically around blockchain and captives?
Yeah, well, so Vermont passed a blockchain-based limited liability corporation. So that
Hmm.
establishes a framework in the law for an LLC that is based around blockchain technology,
Mhm.
and then a captive insurance entity could be one of those entities. So a blockchain-based LLC could be formed and then declared to be a captive insurance entity and established to serve some purpose in that market. And there's all kinds of ways to start to apply this, sort of many permutations of where this starts to apply. But that is 2018 that law was passed.
Mhm.
More recently, some companies have, with an interest in this, especially one from blockchain, is Arbol Markets. They use a term called parametric contracts to describe their smart contracts and the way that they operate to pay out insurance um, awards, essentially, or claims.
Mhm.
And so that language has been entered into the Vermont legislation as
Hmm.
well as updated in the last year for clarity to
That's
ensure
cool.
that it's very clear that this concept of parametric contracts is admissible and is included in the overall sort of permissibility within a captive insurance entity.
So it sounds like you have a friendly local regulatory environment in Vermont as well in terms of corporate structure.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the local regulatory environment for the corporate structures. And then that captive regulatory environment is particularly friendly. And that's actually a global regulator, right? Because it's global companies that might be doing
Mhm.
shipping or property management and be owning assets across jurisdictions that are choosing Vermont over, say, Bermuda to
Hmm.
house their captive. And so Vermont has one of the best staffed regulatory bodies for that purpose. And the laws in Vermont tend to be the basis for the laws that are adopted in other states for captive insurance. And so that as an opportunity means we have a small state. And if we can educate the population effectively around a concept and we can have that presence and voice with our legislature, what the captive industry has seen is that that legislation can evolve and be updated regularly to ensure that it's really meeting the needs of
Yeah,
the industry at large.
I love it. That's great. So, how can we help you at the BBA in this mission of
Yeah,
coalescing the Vermont blockchain ecosystem?
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think part of it is being able to tell the broader story, being able to help local Vermonters understand where our challenges relate with others and how folks might be sort of discovering or inventing these innovative solutions and how they
Mhm.
might apply to us. And so BBA is right in a great spot with a lot of the banks and the audit firms and
Right.
things in that area. And obviously, you've got a different kind of population demographic in terms of the business ecosystem. So, none of us exist in a vacuum, right? And really learning where that interplay is between the Vermont ecosystem and the surrounding New England and Northeast regional states is, I think, really important. And BBA has been at it for a while, right? So a little bit of recognizing the work that you've all put into building that network, it just makes a ton of sense for us to align with the work that you're doing and really make sure that we're all building locally, but not in silos, right? And
Mhm.
I think that's the most promising thing in this technology is that empowerment while not necessarily building up walls in between those who are empowered. And so I think that's the really exciting thing is, I'm 2 hours from Boston, but I'm also 2 hours from Burlington, and I can really help interconnect these ecosystems.
That's great. Where are you located in Vermont?
White River Junction.
Okay. And if how do people get in touch with you if they want to get more involved with Vermont or they, know about someone in Vermont? What's the best way?
Yeah, email is probably the best. Ryan at Interchain.live. So that's going to be the easiest thing. LinkedIn is my primary networking and social media. So folks can connect with me on there. And I've usually have to double check. I might have broken it, but there's usually a link up there to my calendar too to book up some time to chat if folks are interested in really connecting, getting to know what's going on the ground.
Okay. Cool. Was there anything we didn't cover in this that you want to make sure we include, Ryan?
Um, Well, so I will say that I specifically don't want to mention my employer because I'm not taking on this membership on behalf of my employer.
Okay.
But my employer is First Light, and
Hmm.
they are a significant private operator of fiber, telecom, and data center infrastructure in the
Mhm.
Northeast. And so, what I would say is that I also have a unique position that gives me a strong perspective on the data infrastructure and cybersecurity infrastructure in the Northeast and how it may specifically apply to those with an interest in blockchain infrastructure and physical infrastructure networks and overall resilience.
Okay. Yeah. So I can see that's value add, but we will make sure to leave that part out of the interview. And we'll,
Yeah,
of course, let you read it before it
yeah.
goes live as well.
And that might change. I've had some really good conversations with our CEO at First Light, and so
Okay.
I've
I
been
could see it being an
encouraging them.
asset. I mean, I could see there being opportunities here to drive business,
Yeah, yeah,
reflects
we
well.
definitely have some, blockchain business, but their challenge is, they're a telco, right? They want to be vanilla. They don't want to be seen in any way as, uh, you know, uh, picking a side somewhere.
Right, right,
And up
right.
until recently, especially, I think crypto's always been seen as on one side or another or something. And I think maybe that's evolving to you've got really just a
I
matter
agree.
of
Yeah,
getting the information or not.
great. Hold on, I'll stop the recording, but we'll keep talking. All right.